Hey guys. This is what if Naruto died and became the assistant of Negi Springfield. After Naruto dies, he is given a second chance by Kami to live his life without the Kyuubi. But how will he survive being an assistant to a 10-year-old boy teacher and his class of teenage girls? Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start.
We are paid, that's all. We are God.
Chapter 1 New World. Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, the 17-year-old number 1 hyperactive, most unpredictable ninja of all of Konohagakure, let out a breath he was holding. He looking up to the sky, and he let the rain hit his figure. His red battle cloak that he used when he decided to face off against those in Akatsuki was in tatters. He had cuts and bruises everywhere. Having long lost his Hittite during this battle made his blonde bangs cover his eyes. He then stared down at his opponent, Madara Uchiha, who laid motionless on the ground. The battle had Naruto use each and every one of his skills to barely scrape out a win against the near-immortal enemy. Naruto suddenly coughed up blood and fell to his hands and knees. Kyuso, I shouldn't have used the Raisin Shuriken at point blank to actually kill the guy. Kit, what the hell? We're going to die because of what you did, the Kyuubi shouted. Shut up, Bakukitsun. At least this is all over. That pain in the ass Uchiha is gone, and at least everyone is safe. But we are going to die, the Kyuubi snapped. Has that even occurred to you yet? I swear sometimes you're a bigger idiot than Shikaku, and that's saying something. Didn't I say to shut ACKK? Naruto's thought was interrupted as pain started to go through his entire body. He clutched his sides and rolled on the floor screaming in agony. His breathing became shallow as he clutched his chest. His eyes zoomed in and out of focus, and the last thing he saw was Kakashi and Sai appear in front of him, shouting something. Then the darkness took him. Naruto! Kakashi shouted as he saw his student close his eyes to the world. Kakashi then checked his pulse to see if he was still alive. He found none. He's dead, Kakashi said, putting his head down. Sai too looked at his dead comrade who helped free his emotions. We should take his body back to the village, Sai stated calmly. Kakashi nodded. He picked up his pupil's body and left. When they arrived at the village, a large funeral was held for their fallen hero. Even the people who Naruto had helped throughout his life had came to say their farewells to their savior. Tazuna, Inari, and Tsunami came from Wave. Koiki from Spring came, as well as Cheyenne from Demon. Gaara and his siblings came off to the funeral of the one who had freed Gaara from darkness. At the funeral everyone was crying for their loss, but the reformed Sasuke had said something that surprised all of them at the ceremony. He said the Dobe wouldn't want to see us like this. He would tell us to smile and go on with our lives. He wouldn't want our sadness to interfere with the chance of happiness he gave us. He'd probably shout at us for being like me too much, insert sad chuckle here. I personally agree with him. What he did was bring in a new age, a new dawn, where peace is possible. He may be gone, but as long as he is here in our hearts and minds, he will always be with us. So let's not lose sight of what has been given to us by him. The crowd cheered after that and agreed that though he may be gone, he will always be with them. They had a statue made for him in each of the major villages and put his name right next to his father's on the memorial stone. Everyone moved on with their lives, but they kept retelling the story of the rather energetic ninja who brought peace to the elemental nations for ages to come. Electric blue eyes snapped open to be assaulted by white light. Kyuso! Who turned on that bright light? Naruto shouted. Looking around, all he saw was white in all directions and that he was floating in space. Eh? Where am I? He said. He started to think, then the results of the last fight filled his mind. He had died. I'm dead? Yes, Gaki, you are, a deep voice came from all directions. It shocked Naruto since the voice was very, very familiar to him. No, it can't be. Naruto whipped around to see Jiraiya standing behind him with his arms crossed and smirking at him, looking exactly like the last time he saw him alive. Yaro Sennin! He shouted as he hugged his godfather. Ha! It's good to see you too, Naruto, Jiraiya laughed. Well, this looks like a very nice reunion, isn't it? Chuckled an old raspy voice. Once again Naruto was shocked as he saw the Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, was behind him in his Hokage outfit. He gave him one of his grandfatherly smiles to Naruto. Hello Naruto-kun, how are you? Naruto released Jiraiya and glommed his surrogate grandfather. There are more people coming Naruto, I hope you are okay with a nice reunion with everyone. What do you mean Gigi? Naruto asked. The Sandaime just motioned to somewhere behind Naruto again. As Naruto turned around he saw 7 figures in the background looking at him with smiles. The first one looked very feminine and had long black hair that went to the shoulders. The person had on a pink kimono and was smiling at him brightly. Haku? He just waved back. The one next to him was taller, about Kakashi's height, and had a black ninja shirt, pants and sandals on. On his arms were arm warmers, in a camo design. His mouth was covered in bandages and he had no eyebrows. Eh? Zabuza? The figure smirked and nodded. Hey Gaki, how are you doing? Zabuza asked. What do you mean how am I doing, no brows? I'm dead, remember? Naruto deadpanned, causing a chuckle from the occupants of their space. I see that you became a fine shinobi, Naruto. I'm glad to see it, Haku stated. Hee thanks Haku, Naruto said sheepishly while scratching the back of his head. I just followed what you told me. Oh, and what was that? Haku asked curiously. That true strength comes from those who are willing to protect their precious people. Good words coming from a good person, came a voice from the left. Naruto looked at the 2 figures next to them. They were familiar to him, sort of. The first one he knew not so well. He had pale red hair and wore something akin to the hunter Nins. But what distinguished him were his eyes. They were the Rinnegan. It was Nagato, the once figurehead of Akatsuki. Next to him was the one he came to know as the God Realm of Pain. He had orange hair and stood at the same height as Nagato, and he had an infectious smile like himself. From what Naruto can remember, his name was Yahiko. Both of them were smiling at him. I see you have brought a new age of peace, Naruto. Thank you. Nagato then bowed. It was nothing really. So you're the brat who Nagato gave our will to, huh? Yahiko asked. His voice was cheerful and happy. You have my thanks, man. I seriously thought I lost this dude to the darkness. Pointing his thumb to Nagato. It was my pleasure. I mean, come on, you just have to beat some sense into a guy to make them learn, right? Both Yahiko and Naruto chuckled at that. Nagato sighed, then whacked them behind their heads. OWW both shouted, then rubbed their heads. You know, Kushina, I think he is a little too much like you. I mean, he is pretty stupid sometimes. Another thwack was heard, making all the occupants cringe. They saw a man that looked like Naruto except taller, had longer hair and no whisker marks. This was the Sandaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze, and he had a rather large bump on his head. Above him stood a woman who wore an orange blouse and had a black dress over it. Her face looked fierce and her vibrant red hair was clipped to at the side. Her pale gray eyes had flames of anger in it. In her hand was a very large frying pan with a dent in it, about the size of the bump on Minato's head. This was Kushina Uzumaki, Minato's wife and Naruto's mom. What was that, dear? She asked in a sickly sweet tone. And nothing, dear, Minato cowered as he got up. He heard a whisper of whip coming from Naruto. He shot a withering glare at him, only to make him laugh harder. This made Minato smile and hugged his son. I'm glad to see you, Naruto. You too, San. I miss you so much, my Sochi, Kushina said, getting into the hug. I know, Ka-san, Naruto said, crying into their arms. We are proud of what you have become, Naruto. You are what we expected you to be and much more. Yes, son, I'm proud to be called your father. After a good minute of crying, they let go of each other. That was when Naruto saw his last visitor. He was wearing what looked like what Sasuke used to wear, a blue shirt and beige shorts. He had long black hair and dull gray eyes. I'm sorry to say this, but who are you? Naruto asked. The figure smiled and waved a head dismissively. Ma, it's okay. You probably only heard of me in stories anyways. My name is Izuna Uchiha. My brother was Madara Uchiha. Naruto's eyes widened and got into a defensive stance. Are you here for revenge? Izuna shook his head. Naruto got out of his stance but was still on guard. Then what are you here for? Izuna walked up to Naruto and bowed. I am sorry for all the thing my brother and clan has caused you. I wish for you to forgive me for his transgressions. Naruto said, looking everywhere except the person apologizing. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair. It's okay. Izuna's head shot up at that. Are you serious? Yeah. It's okay, I forgive you. They were just following their goals and lost their way. It's understandable, Naruto said with the trademarked Namake's grin. Izuna bowed again. Thank you so much, Naruto-sama. Eh? No. No, Sama. Please makes me feel old when I'm only 17. Izuna chuckled as well as the others. Naruto smiled and joined in. After the laughs died down, Naruto asked the question that has been in his mind since he got there. I'm not staying here, aren't I? The question got a lot of confused looks from the people around him. Naruto sighed again and started to explain. There is this feeling in my gut. Something is telling me that my life was ended a little too quickly, and that something big is going to happen to me. I don't know what it is, but that feeling only grew stronger after I saw you guys. The young boy is right, said a calming female voice. Naruto turned around to see a sight not many get to see. Walking towards them was a woman with long flowing blonde hair. She was in a white dress and her body put all of those he knew to shame. On her face was a serene smile and ocean blue eyes. Naruto grabbed his nose to stop a rather violent nosebleed. Unlike him, Jiraiya, the Sandaime, Izuna and Zabuza flew back due to gushing nosebleeds. Minato couldn't due to the very scary glare coming from Kushina, while Haku just marveled the woman's beauty. I am Kami. Nani! Naruto shouted, waking all those who passed out. This brought out a small giggle from Kami. Gomen. It is not a problem, Naruto-kun. And you were right on that, your life is not over. Something from another world is calling, asking for help. I intend to send you there to help them out, to live a new life without the burdens of the Kyuubi. Oh yeah, I forgot about him, Naruto stated, making everyone except Kami sweat drop. By the way, what happened to him? He went back to hell after your deaths. He will not bother your world for a time. Thank Kami. Naruto sighed. You're welcome, Kami replied. Naruto had to facepalm himself for forgetting that she was right in front of him. I will send you to your new world once you get a few gifts from your visitors. Naruto turned around and looked at the people in front of him. He didn't know when he will see them again, so he wanted to say a proper goodbye. Before he spoke, Kushina interrupted. This isn't goodbye, Naruto, she started lovingly. Just a see you later. She went up to him and hugged him. I hope you live a better life there. She moved away only to turn around with a serious face. And when you get back here, I expect to at least have more than a few grandchildren, got that? Pointing at him, he nodded, afraid of her busting out a frying pan. I agree with your mother, I want to see little Namakazes running around one day, Minato stated. He then produced a scroll from behind him. Here, take this. It contains all of my notes on everything about Fuinjustu and the Hiraishin. Naruto nodded and put it in his pocket. Minato then stuck out his hand and smirked at Naruto. Naruto took it and shook his hand. See you soon, Toussaint Ka-san. With that, they both disappeared with smiles on their faces. Then Haku and Zabuza came up to him. You going to give me something too? Humph, as if Gakyumph. Zabuza was interrupted as Haku elbowed him in the ribs. Damn it, Haku, you didn't have to hit so hard. But Zabuza, I think we owe him at least for showing us the right path. Don't you think so too? Haku said with the dread puppy dog eyes no jutsu. Not being able to stand that technique, Zabuza threw his hands into the air. Gah! Fine. Take this, you brat, and don't bother me again, got it? Zabuza took a scroll with the kanji for blades on it and threw it at Naruto. Take care, kid. With that, Zabuza walked away, disappearing. See you later, Naruto-san, Haku said, bowing. Then, running in the direction Zabuza walked off to. Next came Yahiko, Nagato, and Izuna. Well, to be honest, I have nothing to give you, Naruto, Yahiko said embarrassedly. All I will give you is this. He put his hand on his shoulder and smiled. Good luck, kid. You may or may not need it, but I give it to you anyways. Nagato got something to say to him. Nagato nodded. Naruto, keep your sense and dreams. You may no longer be able to obtain Hokage, but you can still be a great person. Do not forget who you are. So in saying that, I give you this. Nagato ran his right hand over his eyes. The hand started to glow and he placed it on the Naruto's head. Naruto felt a brief flash of energy, then it was gone. I hope you used my gift well. After saying that, both he and Yahiko disappeared. Naruto felt another brief flash of energy, as he felt another hand go down on his head. He turned around to see Izuna smiling at him, and ruffled his hair. You are strong, Naruto, very strong. I know you will use my gift justly. I already feel another power of an Uchiha in you. Itachi, I think, gave you some of his power. I modified it along with mine to make sure your eyes won't deteriorate. I wish you well, Naruto. Then he too disappeared. Naruto then looked at his last two people, Jiraiya and the Sandaime. I want to thank you for everything first of all before you give me your gifts. I mean, I wouldn't have turned out how I am if it weren't for you too. Thanks, GG, Ero-sennin. Naruto was crying because of all of that just occurred. I should thank you, Naruto, Sarutobi said. If it were not for you, many a times Konoha would have fallen. To repay you back, I give you this. A scroll materialized in his hand. On it was the kanji for jutsu. It contains all the jutsus I have learned over time. Just don't overexert yourself when training. Naruto nodded and hugged him one last time before he too walked off and disappeared. Well, Gaki, Jiraiya started as he came up to Naruto. I have nothing to give you. You basically took over for me when you trained. I, however, will give you this. Two things poofed into existence. The first being a little blue book, and the other being a scroll saying Aika Aika. It's my life's work. I hope you find it very pleasurable, he said, letting out a perverse giggle and blushing. Naruto was debating on whether to burn it when he gets his second chance, but he decided what the heck, he'd give it a chance. Okay, Ero-sennin. I'll read it. I think I might republish it too just so I can earn some cash. At this, Jiraiya let out another perverse giggle. Oh, so you mean you're going to continue my research? Jiraiya asked, wiggling his eyebrows. Naruto resisted the urge to shudder at the actions of his godfather. Instead, he nodded and agreed, on the condition that he was dangerously low on money or had nothing of important business that day. This in turn had Jiraiya prancing around the field like a little schoolgirl. When he finally composed himself, he put a hand on Naruto's shoulder and then hugged him. You did great, Naruto. Now go live your new life. With one last smile, Jiraiya disappeared. Are you ready now, young ninja? Kami asked as she reappeared. Naruto nodded. Good, now this may sting for a bit, she said as her fist started to glow gold. Kami-sama, what do you intend to do with that fist? Naruto asked, backing away. Oh, you mean this? She said, looking at her fist. Just going to give you some information to survive in your new world, that's all. Why do you ask? Because you look like Ba-chan, when Jiraiya gets caught peeping. Oh, I didn't notice, Kami replied, smiling with her eyes closed. Now hold still, while I implement the technique. She then appeared in front of Naruto and punched him in the face with the glowing fist, making him fly back a few feet. As he flew, a magical circle appeared around him. It then engulfed him, making him get knocked out. As the magic circle disappeared, Kami sighed and looked towards where it went. Good luck, Naruto-kun. With what you will deal with, you'll need it. But I think Jiraiya will be happy with the results, she said, chuckling out the last part. She too then turned around and walked away, shimmering out of existence. A man in a large office was looking out a window and sighed. He had an oddly shaped head, with a long goatee and ponytail. He also had brows that put both Might Guy and Rock Lee to shame. He wore Japanese priest robes, and he was having troubles lately with one of the students in his school. Usually Konoha would just ignore this, but this time the student went too far. He stopped looking at the window and stared at the problem sitting in the couch in front of him. She was short by a lot of standards. If one were to guess how old she was just by her height, they would guess she was around 10 years old. On her body was a school uniform. White button-up shirt/blouse, red vest and red and black. She had long blonde hair and green eyes. Her face was set in a nasty scowl of the moment, as she sent a very cold glare at the headmaster of the school. The old man started to talk. You know, Evangeline, that was a little harsh what you did to Negi-kun. Shut it, old man, the girl snapped. But Evangeline, you took control of 4 of your classmates, and nearly killed one of them and almost killed you, teacher. You almost died yourself, you know, Kunuman said aloud, but his voice started to portray one of amusement. I said shut it, old man. I still can't believe it. I, the great Evangeline A.K. McDowell, the Dark Evangel, the Doll Master, the Megan Nosferatu, the Queen of the Night, Dean, cough kitty cough, beaten by a little brat and his gorilla of a sidekick. He even had the gall to make me go back to class. I swear one day I'll get him back for this, Evangeline finished and huffed. This caused the headmaster to chuckle and make her glare at him. Well, it's good to hear that you're getting along well with him. After all, you still have a whole year with him. Evangeline growled at this statement. As she was about to retort, they felt a strong magical force surround them. Magical runes appeared on the floor covering the entire room and were glowing a bright gold. Is this your doing, old man? Evangeline shouted, an odd panic heard in her voice. She did not like most seals, for she was trapped in one. The incident of this night of her trying to break one proved it. I'm not doing this. Another force is making it, the headmaster replied. As he looked around, he noticed that this seal was extremely intricate. He saw that a majority of the seal was a teleportation seal, one strong enough to carry someone extremely powerful over. Another part of the seal was a suppression seal to make sure only the occupants of the room can feel the power radiating off of it. The last part caught his attention. Is that runes for Apaccio? He thought. This caused him to smile a wicked smile. He had a good guess what was going to happen. Evangeline too got a good look at the seal and came to the same conclusion about the teleportation and suppressing part of it, but completely missed the Apaccio part. She then felt a portal open above her and looked up, Kunuman following suit. They made out a figure falling towards them. It was humanoid in shape, and was pretty tall, from what they guessed 6 feet tall. As it neared, they could barely make out the figure's clothes. It had on an orange jumpsuit with black accents on it. The bottom part of the pants were bandaged up to close. He had on a red battle cloak with black flames accenting the bottom and sleeves. The figure was male from what they could tell now. It was blonde and had whisker marks on his face. It had on a black headband around his forehead with a metal plate over it. There was rather large scroll on his back. The figure drew closer and closer. Then it just shot out of the portal at unbelievable speeds, then it crashed. As Kunuman gathered his bearing, he noticed that he landed on top of something or someone. The figure, now he knew was a young man, was on Evangeline, with his mouth on top of hers, while she had wide eyes and a very fierce blush on her face. The seal grew a bright pink, then died down. When the seal was gone, Evangeline pushed the boy off of her. She was fuming. I'm going to kill this brat. She was about to pounce on him, when Kunuman stopped her. What are you doing, old man? The brat needs to learn some manners, namely in kissing me. Ho ho ho, sorry Evangeline, but I don't think he even knows he kissed you, he replied. What do you mean he doesn't know? He was on me for a good 2 minutes, she shouted. He just motioned towards the boy and his unmoving form. He was unconscious from the get-go. Evangeline growled. I'm going home. She turned on her heel and walked out. A moment later her head popped back, and this never leaves the room, got it? What about when the boy wakes up? It never leaves the room, she says, slamming the doors. The headmaster sighed, rubbing his temples. He then chuckled. He pressed an intercom and a voice came from the other end. Yes, headmaster? A female voice came out. Shizuna, would you kindly call Takamichi here, please? Of course, headmaster. A couple of minutes later a knock was heard from the other side of the door. With a quiet come in, a man entered. He had on a dark gray suit, with a beige shirt under it and a purple tie. He had some stubble on his chin and graying hair. He had glasses on and a cigarette in his mouth. You called, headmaster? He asked in a deep, raspy voice, probably due to smoking. He then noticed a blond boy on the couch. Ho ho ho, I see you've noticed our guest, Kanuman asked. Who is he? That's just it, we don't know who he is. What do you mean, sir? He just appeared out of a portal just a couple of minutes ago, actually. How come I didn't feel it then? Takemichi asked. Because whoever did the seals for it knew how to cover their tracks well. Those were some of the most advanced seals I've seen to date. Some were rather archaic too, the headmaster explained. So what are we going to do? I would like you to take him to the infirmary. We will question him when he wakes up. Okay, headmaster, he replied. He went over to the couch and gently picked up the boy. After that he stopped in front of the door. I have a feeling things will get more hectic from here on out. Ho ho ho, I agree, Takemichi, Kanuman replied. Takemichi then nodded and left. The headmaster let out another chuckle. Yes, I do believe this boy will make it more interesting around here, he said as he pulled out a card from his sleeve. He looked at it, then gave one last chuckle before putting it away in his drawer. Namikaze Naruto, huh? Let's see what will happen with you here. Omake. Jiraiya appeared in a fully furnished house. After the talk with Naruto, he needed to relax. As he entered his domain, he noticed that 3 people were there, Minato, Kushina, and the Sandaime. Hey guys, what are you doing here? Me and the old man got dragged here by Kushina to watch something rather funny, Minato replied with a devious smirk. A dark chuckle also came from Sarutobi. So what was it you gave my little Naruto-chan him, Jiraiya-sama? Kushina asked with an odd glint in her eyes. In her hand wasn't a frying pan, it was a rather large mallet. Let's not get too hasty now, Kushina, Jiraiya tried to placate her anger. He agreed to do it, and we know he needs the money, and care to help me out, Minato, sensei. They both shook their heads. Traitors! He screamed and ran. Get back here! Let me get retribution for you corrupting my son! Kushina ranted as she swung her mallet. In the distance both Minato and Sarutobi heard a scream of not the jewels, and a sickening thud. It sent shivers down the men's spine. Chapter 2, Introductions. Naruto groaned as he slowly got up. He clutched his head as he got up from his bed. Why does it feel like Bachan and Sakura-chan and 20 rounds at my head? Then Iruka-sensei decided to cram Konoha's entire history into my head, Naruto said. He looked around and he noticed he was in some sort of medical room. Where the hell am I? You are in the infirmary of Mahou Academy Middle School, said a voice from the door. Naruto turned to it to see an old man. It's good to see that you are up, young lad. This old man has the biggest eyebrows I've ever seen. I mean, bushy brows and super bushy brows would kill to have those kind of brows. To Naruto though, this man gave off the same aura as the Sandaime, so Naruto felt safe around. So to address him the same way he addresses everyone, with a demeaning nickname. Hey old man, who are you and how the hell did I end up here? Ho ho ho, I must be slipping, the old man chuckled. I am Kanuman Kono and I am the headmaster of this academy. As to how you got here, I was hoping you can answer that for yourself. What do you mean? It's not every day you have a young man fall into your office from out of nowhere, you know. This made Naruto think. What the hell could have him teleport to somewhere he didn't know? Then it clicked. His meeting with Kami, his deceased loved ones, his new life. Old man, can you somehow silence the room so I can speak to you in private? As well as make sure no one can enter? Naruto asked. Of course, young man, Kanuman stated. Naruto noticed him take out a stick with a star at the end. Chanting some words Naruto couldn't hear, the headmaster made the room glow blue before dying down. There it sealed off to everyone and anyone on the outside. That was cool! Naruto exclaimed. How did you do that? You mean magic? Magic? Naruto asked. Then flashes went through his head. He held his head for a few moments. When the pain went away, he understood what magic was. Ah, I see, okay. You know about magic, young man? The headmaster asked, quirking an eyebrow. I do now, Naruto said. I think I should explain before you ask any questions, okay, old man? Kanuman nodded. So Naruto got into the telling of his life in Konoha. How he was hated due to his previous burden, how he was always alone. Then he continued saying on how he met people close to him, like the Sandaime Hokage, Iruka-sensei, Kakashi-sensei, Hinata, etc. He then went on to talk about his life as a ninja Konohagakure. He then told of the betrayal of his friend, the years he spent to get stronger to be able to bring him back. How he lost one of his most precious people, and gained the love and trust of others from the village. And finally the final fight between him and the madman named Madara. He finished his recollection by stating how he met Kami, and that she has given him a new life in this world. The old man was stroking his beard throughout the entire time. So Naruto, you are telling me that you are here to help out in some grand scheme of things. Naruto nodded. I think I have a good idea on what you are supposed to do. Really, old man? Yes, Naruto. In fact, I would like to offer you a job here at the academy, Kunuman stated. A job? Sure, why not? I need a way to make money anyways. Other than republishing Ika, that is. I want you to help a new teacher of ours as his assistant teacher. He is pretty young for his age, in fact he is only 10 years old. He will need all the help he can get. So you want me to help teach in this place? Yes. Okay, I mean how hard can it be, right? Kunuman chuckled. Though how you will be eating those words later, Naruto. By the way, your clothes and gear are in the closet over there. Naruto's eyes widened as he looked down on himself. He in fact was only in his boxers. Sorry, we had to clean them from the grime and dirt. You have been uncurious for a good 3 days. So come to my office when you are ready to find out the finer details, okay? Sure, old man. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going back to sleep. I have a killer headache due to a Kami-powered informational punch of doom, Naruto replied. With that he put the covers over himself as he drifted off to sleep. Kunuman chuckled and went out. A random robed mage was standing outside. Was he telling the truth? Kunuman asked the mage. The mage nodded. Good, he won't be a threat to our school to say the least. The mage disappeared and Kunuman walked away from the room. And Macy, during conversation. Akio Izumi was having a bad day. First, her alarm clock didn't go off this morning and her friends forgot to wake her up. This led to her missing both breakfast and the train to school. So she was late getting to class. In class she noticed that she had left her assignments at her dorm. During lunch her best friend Yuna accidentally hit her lunch out of her hands with a basketball. She made up for it by giving Akio her food. Now Akio has a terrible headache. It was at this she wanted to go to the infirmary. Excuse me, Negi-sensei? Yes, Akio-san? Said a little boy no older than 10. He had red hair with a dark patch of it on the bottom. He had red eyes that were not obscured by his glasses. Head had on a light green suit. This was Negi Springfield, son of the Thousand Master, and current teacher of the Class 3A. I'm not feeling well, may I go to the infirmary? Akio asked. Why, of course. Do you want anyone to go with you? No, I'll be fine. She then turned to her brunette friend who had her hair in a ponytail. Can you get the rest of the notes for me, Yuna? Sure thing, Akio, Yuna replied. Get better, K. Akio nodded, got her stuff and walked out of the class. She was walking to the infirmary at a slow pace to make sure she didn't overexert herself at the moment. As she bound the last corner to the infirmary she noticed the headmaster walking away from it. I wonder what he was doing near here. Maybe another person was in the infirmary? Nah, I don't think so, she thought. Shrugging because she really need to rest she walked into the room. She looked inside and saw that Shizuna-sensei wasn't around. She sighed in relief. She took off her shoes and went to the curtains that contained the bed in the room. She went and laid down, going to sleep. She never noticed the nearly naked boy next to her. Time skipped 2 hours. Naruto was having a good rest, and was barely awake. He then noticed something soft within his arms. When did I get a second pillow? And why is it so soft? He gave his right hand a small squeeze, feeling the pillow. He missed the small whimper coming from next to him. Whoever gave me this pillow, I got to thank them. It feels nice, and smells like perfume. By accident he gave it another squeeze, just a wee bit harder this time. The pillow released a soft moan this time. Wait, when the hell did a pillow moan? Now that I mentioned it, Pillows aren't supposed to be this firm. Also, why does it go all the way down to my feet? Oh, Cammy. If I think this is what I think it is, I might be in trouble. Naruto cracked open his left eye and looked down. What he saw gave him a deep blush and almost made his nose bleed. In his arms was a silver-haired girl, a couple of inches shorter than himself. She was wearing what he supposed was the school uniform at the academy the old man was running. Her clothes were wrinkled from sleeping, and some parts were lifted showing a fair amount of skin. Their legs were intertwined and his right hand was on her right breast, while his left was around her waist. She was also slowly cuddling up towards him. Damn. This is bad. If she wakes up and sees me like this, she might accuse me of being a pervert, or worse, someone like Ero-sennin. Naruto even swore he heard a perverse giggle in his mind. No, if I can only get out of this before she wakes up. It was at this moment the girl started to stir. Ah, F my life. Akio woke up from a needed rest. What she found strange, however, was the fact that there was a weight around her body. She looked down to see that someone's hand was one her chest, the other on her waist. She continued downward, seeing that her legs were jumbled up with someone else, also noticing that her clothes were still on, however they were lifted into very revealing places. Good, at least I know I wasn't violated, hopefully. She craned her neck backwards to see who was holding her. When she did, her eyes met with a stunning pair of blue eyes. Golden locks topped his head, and he had odd whisker marks on his cheeks. The boy's face made her flush. She slowly looked down, and saw that he was only in boxers. This intensified the blush tenfold. Naruto took this as his chance to speak. Look, I know this may seem bad to you, but I can explain. So please just stay calm and... KYA. Pervert. Akio screamed, pushing him off the bed. Naruto hit the floor with a thud. That's going to hurt me, and later Naruto thought. He noticed that the girl got up and covered herself in the blanket. She was already at the counter, and holding a container of band-aids in her hand. What did you do to me, you creep? She shouted, her face still flushed. Look, I did absolutely nothing to you. Naruto started. Liar! She threw the container at him. Naruto caught it and put it at the bed. Please listen. I swear, catch as a box of gloves I didn't catch as a bottle of rubbing alcohol, do anything dodges the anatomically correct skeleton to you. So please calm down. As he finished, he dodged a barrage of syringes. How does she know where these are all at? Having enough of this, Naruto used Shunshin to get behind her. He then used a weak chop to the back of her neck and knocked her out. Before she hit the floor, he caught her. That was close. He carried her bridal style and carefully put her on the bed. I guess it's time to meet the headmaster, huh? Naruto went to the closet and took out his clothes. He got dressed in less than a minute. He looked sadly at his battle cloak, which was completely destroyed from everything. Man, and that was my favorite one too. Folding it, he placed it in his arms and walked to the door. He glanced at the room and its only occupant. I shouldn't leave this place like this. She might remember what just happened. Putting both of his index and middle fingers into a cross shape, he muttered his jutsu. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, making 3 clones, he ordered them to clean up the place. Slowly putting everything in order. While they did this, the original walked up to the girl that attacked him, and fixed the covers over her body. When the clones were done, they dispersed, and Naruto walked out the door, silently sliding it closed. After his first step out, he realized something important. I don't know where the old man's office is. Sighing, he went off on a random direction. Naruto was awed by the sights around him. This place was so different from where he'd come from. It was all high-tech and new to him. Also, the sheer size of the place got to him. Mahou Academy, my ass. This place is more like Mahou City to me. Naruto continued meandering throughout the school. Every once in a while he'll hear the whispers of girls around him. When he looked at the source, he saw them blush and look away, giggling. Now Naruto wasn't as naive as he once was. He knew what that meant. Those girls probably thought he was cute or hot. As long as I don't get a group of fangirls, I will be alright. He walked for about a good hour, when his stomach grumbled. I wonder where can I get a good bowl of ramen around here? Naruto thought aloud as he walked along. Bah, might as well ask the old man when I see him. He turned to the right, only to notice that he was back at the building he started out in. Nanny! I was walking around in a circle, he shouted. You have got to be kidding me. Ho ho ho, Naruto-kun, I didn't know you were up, came Kanumen's voice. Naruto looked up the building to see him standing on a balcony of the largest building. What's the deal, old man? You didn't tell me where your office was? Well, to be honest, you never asked, the headmaster replied nonchalantly. This made Naruto face vault. Okay, I think I deserve that, Naruto grumbled as he stood up. You up for the meeting right now, old man? Why, of course, Naruto-kun. Good. Naruto looked around to see if anyone was close by. He even sent some chakra out. Luckily, there was no one around. Pumping chakra into his feet, he jumped and landed right next to the headmaster in a crouch. Let's do this, old man. Kanumen chuckled. Let's go inside. As they entered, Naruto took in the sight of his office. It was huge, nearly twice the size of the Hokage's office. There were bookshelves on all the walls. In the middle was a coffee table and 2 sofas. Please take a seat, Naruto-kun, the headmaster said, breaking him out of his reverie. He took a seat across from Kanumen. So what does this job ask me to do, old man? I want you to be the assistant teacher to Negi Springfield. Help him teach his class graduate this year, tutor them, things like that. I see, Naruto responded. He then put on his serious face. Now tell me, what does this job need me to do? Ho ho ho, it seems like you catch on pretty quick, Naruto-kun. Kanumen got into serious mode as well. I need you to protect this class. Some of them are magically aware and tend to get into trouble. I want you to guard them with your life. You don't need to tell them you are protecting them. You can do it from the shadows, whatever helps you out. I need your word on this, Naruto. My granddaughter is in that class, and I want her to be safe. Do I have your word, Naruto? Hi. I will protect the class with all I have. And I, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, never go back on my word. For that is my nindo, Naruto stated with his serious face. All was silent for a good couple seconds, until Naruto's stomach grumbled. Scratching the back of his head sheepishly, he said, hee, sorry about that. I haven't had anything to eat since I've died. Is there any good ramen places around here? Kanumen was laughing at the boy's antics, serious one moment, cheerful the next. Sure thing, Naruto-kun. There is a small shop nearby, it looks like a car. It's pretty hard to miss. They sell a good amount of ramen there. While we are at it, there is a clothing store near it. I suggest you buy enough clothes to help you blend into this world. Your outfit is kind of out there. Sure thing, old man, Naruto said, running out of the room. Only to come back in a few seconds later scratching his cheek rather embarrassed. Can I have a map, please? Also, I kind of need money and a place to stay. Also, is there a place where I can train where no one will get hurt? Kanumen stroked his beard and nodded. He took out a map from his drawer and handed it to Naruto. Here is place you can stay, he said, circling a small X in the forest near the academy. It will also have the training place you are requesting. Give this note to the owner to explain what will happen. For money, take this much, taking a couple hundred yen from his pocket, and a note formed the top of his desk. You can pay me back when you start your job on Monday. So I don't start tomorrow? No, it's Sunday tomorrow. There's no school. And just so you know, people in Japan also go to school on Saturday. So this is taking place on Saturday, Kanumen stated. Got it, old man, Naruto said. He was about to walk out again when he turned around. He opened his mouth but was beaten to it by the headmaster. You need a guide, don't you? He asked. Naruto sheepishly nodded his head, grinning. Very well. He pressed a button on the intercom. Shizuna, can you get in here, please? He released the button and snapped his fingers. Oh, I just remembered something. Huh? What is it, old man? Naruto asked curiously. The headmaster opened another drawer and pulled out a card and gave it to Naruto. It was face down, so all he saw was the back. What is this? Oh, let's say it's a new gift to you. Naruto shrugged and was about to look at the card when he heard the door open. He turned around, only to have his face bump into someone's rather ample bust. He backed away quickly and started stuttering out apologies, blushing the entire time. "Don't worry, it's okay," said a kind feminine voice. He looked to see a woman in blue suit. She had green wavy hair and glasses on. The thing he ran into was about the same size as Tsunade's. "Hello, I am Shizuna. What's your name?" "And Naruto Namikaze," Naruto stuttered. "Shizuna, I would like you to take Naruto around campus to make sure he doesn't get lost." "Hi. Let's get going, Naruto-kun," Shizuna said. Naruto nodded and placed the card into his back pocket. He also decided to seal the rather large scroll in a storage seal on his right breast. They then walked out of the office. The headmaster had an all-knowing smile as he swiveled his chair around to look at the setting sun. "I wonder how Evangeline will handle her new roommate, ho ho ho." After a rather brief dinner at another restaurant that didn't sell ramen, the other store was closed due to class still being in session, much to Naruto's disappointment, and a rather lengthy shopping trip, due to Shizuna making sure there wasn't an excessive amount of orange on Naruto, once again to his disappointment. Naruto finds himself in front of a cottage in the middle of the woods. This is odd. I would have thought that the students would live in the dorms. Oh well, beggars can't be choosers, Naruto idly thought. After knocking on the door, he waited for a few moments as someone opened it. "May I help you?" It was a green-haired girl in a maid uniform. Her eyes were blue and had weird things coming out of her head, where her ears supposed to be. Naruto then felt a flash of pain in his head again and clutched it for a moment. As fast as it came, it disappeared. "She's a robot, huh?" "Yes. Can I speak to the master of the house?" The girl looked like she was thinking about it for a moment, then nodded. "Please make yourself comfortable while I call Master Mr. Naruto." "Naruto Namikaze," Naruto replied. The girl nodded and went up some stairs. Naruto took this time to look around the room. He noticed it was furnished really well and had a nice homey feel to it. Too bad that was killed due to the extreme amount of doll around the room. I really hope that this person is a girl, or Kenkuro may have some competition in the doll-playing department, Naruto thought. This caused him to snicker. He heard a shout coming from upstairs, and distinguished it as female. Okay, at least it's not another boy playing with some dolls. Bounding down the stairs, Evangeline was wondering who in their right mind would bother her at this time of night, around 10 p.m. As she reached the bottom step, she noticed who her guest was. It was the blonde brat who she kissed. Her face took on a pink tinge at the memory. Shaking it out of her, she glared at the boy. "What do you want?" she demanded. Naruto turned his attention to the short blonde. "Hey little girl. Is the owner of the house home?" "I am the owner of the house, Baka," Evangeline shouted, her anger starting to rise. "Eh? Seriously?" Naruto said, dumbfounded. "You're only 10 years old? Well, I shouldn't talk. I lived by myself since I was 5. That doesn't answer my question. What are you doing here?" Naruto searched his pockets and finally produced a note. He handed it to her, and she read it. He watched her face go from confused to surprise, and it finally settled on angry. "No!" she shouted, pointing at him. "What do you mean, no? You will not live here with me," she said, and started going back up the stairs. "Hey, it's not my fault I'm living here. Blame the old man for this, Chibi-chan," Naruto said, crossing his arms over his chest. Evangeline stopped in her tracks. "What did you call me?" she asked, not turning around. "Huh? What did you call me, you little brat?" "Oh." Naruto smirked. "What's wrong, Chibi-chan?" Naruto laughed as she lunged at him. He just sidestepped, and she flew by, hitting her head on the wall. "Whoops, didn't mean for that to happen. I'll make you pay for that, brat," she shouted as she went for a punch. Naruto blocked her punches, but his arms started to sting. For a little girl, she hits pretty hard. "Why are you calling me brat?" Naruto suddenly asked. "I'm older than you, Chibi-chan." He jumped as she tried to sweep kick him, and he flipped over the couch. "First of all, my name is Evangeline, not Chibi-chan. Second of all, I'm over 500 years old, you brat," Evangeline said as she jumped over the couch and tried to punch him. Naruto dodged and caught the collar of her blouse. "Eh? So you're an old hag then, huh, Chibi-chan?" Naruto sniggered as she turned red in either anger or embarrassment. "You are going to pay for this, you brat!" she shouted. He then heard her mumble something, and felt the temperature of the room get colder. He looked at Evangeline. He saw her hand aim at his face and a flash of white. Evangeline was freed from his grip as he was frozen in ice. She looked at his surprised face as he stood there. Serves him right," she said arrogantly with a smirk. She then felt a hand on her head. She looked up to see who it was, only to see the annoying brat standing next to her, using her as an armrest. "You know, if I was 5 years younger, you would have gotten me with that," he said. He then looked at her with his foxy grin. This made her blush and look at the one in the ice. With a poof of smoke it disappeared. But how when Evangeline mumbled. "Trade secret, my dear," he said, ruffling her hair. Evangeline growled. "Fine, you can stay, but I swear if you so much as do something to mess up my home, I swear you will never see the light of day again." Sending her another foxy grin, Naruto replied, "Thanks, Eva-chan." This caused a tick mark to grow on her forehead. "Say chan again, I will ravage you," she threatened him. Naruto smirked when she said that. He leaned in and whispered into her ear, "Wow, Eva-chan. I didn't know you were that kinky. I mean, we only just met, and you want to jump me already?" When he moved away, he saw her face had an atomic blush on it. She shouted and walked up the stairs. "That brat is exactly like him. I swear I'll get him back for this," she thought. As she went up the stairs, Naruto was clutching his sides, laughing hysterically. After calming down, he noticed the green-haired girl walk up to him. Excuse me, Shichamura Karakuri," the Giant provided. "Right. Cha-chan, where am I going to stay?" Naruto asked. She tilted her head to the side and seemed confused. "What's wrong, Cha-chan?" "Naruto-san, it's just, why do you refer to me as Cha-chan? Usually nicknames like those are given to those you care for," Shichamura replied. "Oh, don't worry about that," he said, waving the thought off. "I just do that to every girl I know. Got used to it, I guess." "Very well, Naruto-san." She then felt him flick her head. She looked at him confused. "No, san," he calmly stated. "I don't like it when people use honorifics. Makes me feel old. So just call me Naruto, okay?" "Hi. Naruto, please follow me to your room." They walked down a small hallway in the cottage, and she opened the door to a small room. Inside was a desk, a futon in the corner, and a bookshelf. "I am sorry if it is not furnished, but..." No, it's fine. I'm okay with this. "Thanks, Cha-chan," he said, giving her a smile. "If there is anything you need, I will be outside." She turned to leave when she heard Naruto call to her. "The old man said there was a place where I can train, without anyone getting hurt. Is it nearby?" "I think he is talking about Master's Resort." "Eva-chan has a resort?" "Yes, a magical resort, where she uses to relax." "Can you show it to me tomorrow, Cha-chan?" Naruto asked. "Okay, thanks again. Good night, Cha-chan," she nodded and walked off. He turned around and looked at his new room. "Well, let's Naruto this place up." Putting his hand on his right chest where the storage seal was, he unsealed the scroll with a small poof. He unrolled the scroll and took some things out. First, he got 3 pictures out and laid them on the desk. The first was that of his father and pregnant mother. The second was the picture taken of Team 7. The last picture, though, was obscured by his own shadow so no one could see it, but it brought a tear in his eye and sad smile on his face. Moving on, he unsealed the drawer and placed it next to the desk. He filled it up with the clothes he bought that day. Going to the bookshelf, he made some space to place the scrolls he had gotten from his loved ones during their brief meeting, as well as the giant scroll itself. "There, it feels more like home now," he said. A yawn escaped him as he looked at the clock. It was nearly midnight. "Might as well go to sleep, seeing as I won't be able to train right now." He went to his drawer and took out an orange shirt and black shorts to sleep in. After changing and putting the dirty clothes in a basket he unsealed, he was about to go to sleep. As his head hit the pillow, he remembered something. "Oh yeah, that card the old man gave me," Naruto exclaimed, getting up. He walked up to his pants and reached into the back pocket. He still only saw the back. He turned the card over and his heart stopped. He dropped the card afterwards. On the card was a picture that had shocked him. It was Chapter 3, Training Days or Day. Naruto paced around his new room, occasionally stealing glances at the card face down on the table. He was tempted to think that it was some sick sort of joke being played on him by Kami, or even the Kyuubi from beyond the grave. He knew it wasn't. However, he looked at that card, it sent shivers down his spine. It caused bad memories to appear when he looked at it. He looked at the clock and saw that it was 1 o'clock in the morning. He had paced around for a good hour. I won't be able to get any sleep like this, Naruto thought. I wonder if I can find that training ground by myself. Steeling himself, Naruto unsealed an A and B uniform from a scroll. He put on the black ninja pants and sleeve shirt. Above it he put on the chest plate and black fingerless gloves over his fingers. He wrapped the pants bottoms closed using black medical tape and put on black ninja sandals. This set was a gift from Shizune-chan to him for his 16th birthday, as he was instated into the A and B ranks. Grabbing some scrolls from the shelf and placing the card into a pocket, he slowly opened the door and snuck out of his room. As he turned around, he came face to face with Shichamaru. It took all his ninja training not to scream like a girl at the sight of her. Is there something wrong, Naruto? No, not really, Naruto said. Why are you awake at this time, Cha-chan? I do not require that much sleep. All I need is Master's energy to keep me going most of the time. I see. May I ask why you are not asleep, Naruto-san? Naruto's eye twitched at the honorific, but let it slide. Can't sleep, stressed about something, Naruto said. He didn't feel like lying to this girl/giant. Can you show me where the resort is now, Cha-chan? I feel like blowing off some steam. She nodded. Of course, Naruto-san, please follow me. Shichamaru led him down a long hallway into the living room. There she went down some stairs to the basement where to a door. Opening the door, she revealed a glass orb. Inside it looked like a mini resort. So this is the resort Eva-chan has? Naruto asked. Yes, this is her resort. Is there anything I should know about this resort? Hi, you can spend up to a day in the resort, but only 1 hour shall pass out here. Also, if you enter, you will not be able to leave unless 24 hours in there has passed, Shichamaru explained. Naruto nodded. He grinned when he thought about all the possibilities of training in there, especially with his Kage Bunshins, shadow clones. Thanks, Cha-chan. Come get me tomorrow around this time, so I can prepare for my meeting with the old man, K? Hi, Naruto. Oh, and please tell Eva-chan not to go inside. Same goes for you. I don't want you getting hurt. Shichamaru tilted her head to the side. Why was this boy worried for her safety? She felt confused about that, but decided to ask her creator Hakase later on. She nodded and he walked into a circle and disappeared. Naruto was floored at what he saw. This place is huge. I can see why Eva-chan likes it here. Looking around, he saw that he was on some tower, which led into the main building. Looking down, he saw the resort was based on those of tropical islands, for it was covered in all directions in water. There was a beach at the bottom, and a few tropical plants here and there. Making 10 clones, he sent them into the building to see how the place is and if he can actually sleep in there. He decided to rest at the beach and wait for them. Jumping down a couple 100 meters, he applied chakra to his feet, cushioning his fall. Finding a shady tree, he sat under it to go over the things he needed to train in. Okay, so I know that I am a master in the sage arts, so I'm set there. Now let's see what gift they gave me, Naruto thought. Unrolling a scroll from his collection, he looked at it. It was a rather complex dual sword wielding method, called Shinmyuryu Arashi Shusihin. It involved using something called ki to empower techniques to fight, namely to exorcise demons. This is Zabuza's gift to me. Why the hell does a so-called demon of the mist have a demon exorcising weapon style? Also, what the hell is ki? Now here is my big problem, where can I find someone willing to sell a miner some swords? Moving on, Naruto unrolled the next scroll. This one contained a massive amount of jutsus and how to use them. GG scroll, I wonder how many are in them. Naruto came up to the final scroll and knew what it was. The scroll on Fuinjutsu his father gave him. Naruto knew a lot about sealing before he died, so this one wouldn't be a problem. He was just happy to know he would be able to use the Hiroshin like his father. I wonder what Nagato and Izuna gave me. Before he got to ponder any longer, he received all the info from his clones that searched the tower. He had to say Eva had great taste. It really did feel like a resort up there. Snapping out of his thoughts, he went back to thinking what gifts he could have gotten from those two. He spent a good 5 minutes thinking about it, even inspecting his body, and nothing came up. Why can't I see what's different already? Naruto shouted. It was then he had an epiphany. He ran to the water and looked into the reflection, yet not seeing anything different. Naruto frowned, what he had to do to change his eyes. I remember Sasuke saying something about pumping chakra into his eyes to get his Sharingan, might as well give that a try. Putting chakra into his eyes, he looked into the water, and yet nothing happened. His frown became deeper. What was he doing wrong now? Still applying chakra into his eyes, he muttered aloud, "Why can't I get the Sharingan?" It was then, his eyesight became clear as crystal, and he was able to perceive more around him. He looked into the water again, but didn't see the Sharingan. He saw the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. His retinas were crimson, and his iris had changed. Instead of a black dot, it was a large circle with 3 thick bars extending from the top, bottom left, and bottom right of it. Then it slowly changed, as a swivel of red went from the edge of the black went into the middle, leaving the inside of the bars red. Then the same swivel appeared again, but in between the black bars, turning that part of the eye black. An image looks like Izuna's Manjikyu, then you take the Manjikyu of Itachi, and turn it so it looked like it was cut out of Izuna's like a puzzle. Then a thought crossed his mind. Willing the eyes off, he thought of the other pair of eyes he could have gotten. Applying chakra into his eyes again, he thought of the Rinnegan. When he stared into the water, a pair of dull purple eyes looked back at him with a rippling effect coming out of the corner. Naruto smirked, "Damn straight. I got 2 powerful techniques, along with all those things Too-san and everyone else gave me. It'll be easy to protect everyone here." Pumping a fist into the air, then his smile faltered as he thought about the length this will take to master everything. Shrugging, Naruto shouted the call of his trademark Jutsu Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, making about 1,000 clones. "Okay, listens up. I want 100 of you to take the scrolls and make copies of them. After that, disperse the info to another group of clones. I want 190 of you to practice using the jutsus, another 190 practicing the sword katas, another bunch practicing Fuinjutsu, the Sharingan and Rinnegan. Do I make myself clear?" "Hi," replied the chorus of blondes. "Now get to work. Remember to disperse slowly and in groups of 10, or I'll have a massive headache." They nodded and went around the island to start training. Creating another clone, he punched it to make sure it dispersed. It was to send a message to one of his clones he left in his room to get a pair of swords to practice with. "What are you going to do, boss?" a clone asked him. "Why, try out all the moves, of course. I need to get them down too," Naruto said, smirking. Rinnegan training, Deva Path and Animal Path, first day in resort. Naruto came to a small clearing on the beach. If I remember correctly, Nagato was able to summon many different kind of creatures using the Rinnegan. I wonder if I can do the same. Changing his eyes into the Rinnegan, and going through a few hand seals, Naruto shouted Kuchios no Jutsu. Then slammed his hand into the sand. A large plume of smoke appeared. When the smoke cleared, Naruto was surprised at what he saw in front of him. It was a rather large dragon. It had bright white scales and some crystals where limbs met elbow, knees, etc. It had a long white tail, tipped with a spear-like black crystal. Its wings encompassed the majority of the beach in front of him. It had a white mane, and his eyes were also the Rinnegan. He stared down Naruto, his 2 horns looking poised to attack him. "Who are you to summon me, Shiro?" the dragon roared. "I did, Shiro-sama," Naruto shouted from the beach. "And who might you be, young one?" "Name's Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, nice to meet you, Shiro-sama." "Pray tell, why did you summon me?" "I was wondering if I can get your permission so that I may summon your clan, Shiro-sama," Naruto said. Secretly, he was thanking Kakashi-sensei for making him take an ethics class for this kind of occasion. I see, Shiro stated. I will only let you summon us by passing a test. The previous summoner had used mind tricks to control some of my clan. I hope are not going to do the same. Are you afraid? I am not afraid, Shiro-sama, Naruto replied. The dragon bent down to eye level with Naruto and stared at him. Naruto then felt as if someone was watching his entire lift from the very beginning. After a few seconds it was done. He saw Shiro put his head up in thought. You have led a very hard life. A rather lonely one at that. Yet somehow you are able to still smile and be happy. You are strong, Naruto Namikaze. I hereby grant you permission to summon me and my clan at your will. To clarify, my clan is made up of many representatives of various other clans such as the Dog, Bull and Pelican clan. Just think of what you need at the time, and they will be at service. Thank you, Shiro-sama, Naruto said, bowing. Oh, before I forget, summon someone from my clan. He was willing to meet you after he felt your chakra be added to our scroll, Shiro said. Eh? How'd they know that? We can send information to many others within the clan, Shiro explained. Just summon again, and he will be there to meet you. Shiro poofed out of existence after explaining. Naruto shrugged and summoned another creature again. When the smoke cleared, Naruto smiled and had tears in his eyes. The thing in front of him was an orange toad. It had a blue vest and a white sash with a dagger in the back. From what Naruto can remember, the only difference he can see was that now the eyes of this toad were the Rinnegan. Gamakichi. Boss. The toad happily replied, hugging his long-lost brother. Boss, we missed you so much. Ma and Pa were worried, even Dad was freaking out at your death. The giant toad stopped hugging him. Wait, you're not dead? Oh, I did die, Naruto started. Naruto went into the whole story of him and Kami meeting, his new life, etc. In turn, Kichi had told him that a couple millennia had passed in the elemental countries. That everyone had moved on but never forgotten him, and also how a certain Kunoichi had given birth to his son. Whoa, wait a minute. You mean that after our little fling she had a kid? Naruto asked, dumbfounded. The toad nodded. Yeah, had your skin tone and hair. The kid had his mother's eyes, though. What they name him? Fujin was his name. I swear he was just like you in every aspect. Hell, he even wanted to be Hokage, Gamakichi replied. He looked up to you a lot. Don't worry, she forgave you for dying on her. She knew it was either the world or nothing at all. She's just happy to have your kid. That's just like her to do that, isn't it? I still have a picture of her. Can you give me a picture of him and her if you have one? Naruto said, crying a bit. The toad nodded. After catching up with his brother, Naruto wiped away his tears and stood up to train. Want to keep me company while I train, bro? No problem, Aniki, Gamakichi replied. Let's see, Nagato was able to pull and push things away using gravity. I'm remembering him calling it Shinra Tensei, heavenly subjugation of the omnipresent god. Pointing his right hand towards the water, he shouted the technique. Shinra Tensei. This caused the water to be blasted a couple of meters back. Yalta! I did it! Did you see that, bro? Naruto exclaimed. Great going, Aniki, Kichi said, jumping front off him. Now what was the other way of doing it? You mean attraction? Gamakichi nodded. Naruto went into a thinking pose, trying to remember what it was. He snapped his fingers and grinned. I remember now, it was called Bansho Tenin, heavenly attraction of all of creation. Naruto then saw Gamakichi jump away. Wonder why he left? He looked up to see his hand still in the air pointing to his back. Turning around, he saw a large boulder coming at him. Thud. Naruto was on the sand, out cold from being slammed into the boulder. Gamakichi jumped back down and laughed. Still the same old Aniki. Manjiki training, Amaterasu, first day in resort. Naruto groaned and shook his head. Note to self, do not leave hand hanging after shouting out those techniques. He looked around and saw that there was a note on the floor. Dear Aniki. Went back home. Going to tell the family you okay. Summon me again one day so we can hang out. Your bro. Gamakichi. P.S. You owe me a bunch of snacks when we meet. Naruto smiled at the letter. Getting up, he noticed that the sun was setting, meaning that a day almost passed already. Well, time to see what the others have learned so far, Naruto said. He summoned a clone, then instantly dispersed it. A few moments later he felt the information come from a few clones. The clones practicing Fuinjutsu had already finished the book and started to practice. They only didn't touch the Hiraishin part of it to make sure the original does it. The clones practicing jutsu had gotten a few down, namely Futon jutsus, as well as a couple Raiten, Katan and Suiton. Those doing the swords were practicing really hard after somehow using henge to become to blades. He also found out that a few went into Eva's library to find out about Ki. What they got was, Ki was a physical energy most used from inside their bodies, and was one of the energies used in this world. Magic and Kankaho were the others. What got Naruto's attention was the Kankaho energy. It was basically chakra, but the person applying it had to fuse both. This made Naruto frown. This meant to use this sword technique right, he had to diffuse his chakra into both of those physical aspect, ki, and the spiritual aspect, magic. Ga. More control exercises. Making more clones, he had them practice on how to separate chakra. Naruto then absorbed the memories of those practicing the Manjikyu Sharingan. They just mastered using Amaterasu. Okay, let's do this. This time his eyes turned into the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan, and he pointed his face towards the rock that hit him. Amaterasu. The rock was set ablaze in black flames, slowly burning it to a crisp. Yes. I got the move down. Hey boss, I brought some ramen. A clone shouted. Naruto turned around, forgetting he had Amaterasu on. This caused him to burn the clone. And the ramen? No. Not the ramen. Naruto jumped to save it, but some clones stopped him. No boss. Let it go. You're going to die if you touch it. But the ramen! Naruto shouted. The clones managed to drag him away, but he was shocked to the core with the loss of ramen, and was crying hysterically. He mumbled things like black flames killed ramen and rest in peace ramen. This caused many clones to sweat drop. Hiraishin training, trial, 6th day in resort. Having used 5 days to get the information in his head sorted, training his body in order to be ready for the sword style and getting over the death of his ramen, Naruto decided to try out the Hiraishin. Opening the scroll. He looked at it, and carefully, read and reread the scroll over many times. After thinking he had it down, Naruto got a 3-pronged kunai and carefully wrote the seals onto it, making sure the seals weren't in the wrong spot. Walking a safe distance, he looked for something to throw it at. He decided to throw it a good distance away, just onto another part of the beach. Putting chakra into it, he threw the blade. It hit the hand with a thud, yet nothing happened. What the? He wondered. I was sure I got it right. He scratched his head, but felt something wet on it. Examining his hand, he noticed that there were black dots on it. Naruto then felt a tug. He disappeared in a flash of yellow, and fell atop the kunai. Second note to self. Make sure ink is dry. Getting up, he rubbed his sore back and got to work on it again. Pakshio training, 10th day in resort. Sitting at the table, Naruto looked at the card in his hand. I think I'll practice this later. He put it down and walked away. Rinnegan training, Azura Path and Preta Path, 12th day in resort. Rasengan! A clone shouted. It impacted the original Naruto, but it didn't seem like it had fazed him at all. The ball of chakra then began to grow smaller and smaller, but not because it was losing energy. It was growing smaller because the original Naruto was absorbing the chakra into his body. Naruto fell down and panted as the jutsu finished. Damn. Absorbing energy like that is good and all, but man, when it replaces the energy you lose, it's weird, Naruto said between pants. The clone walked up to him and gave him some water, which the original gulped it all down in an instant. Over the past few days and hours, Naruto and his clones had trained non-stop. Naruto had currently gotten the Hiraishin mastered, as well as a lot of the jutsus in Gigi's scroll. The sword handling was coming along really well, for he liked how it feels in his hands. The problem, however, came with the other gifts he had gotten. He needs other people to successfully try out 2 techniques for the Rinnegan, and one for the Manjikyu, as well as something non-human for the Azura path. He was thinking on how to get over this problem, when a smile came upon his face. Now how should I do this? He said aloud. He then held his head as new information came. He released his head and grinned. He went to a table in the resort, and took out a giant blue piece of paper. Taking a white pencil, he started a schematic for his new toy. After a few hours he had finally managed to get the scheme down, as well as an explanation for most of the functions of the things required. Making a clone, he handed him the schematic, and sent him out the seal. The clone walked out of the seal and started to search for Shichamaru. What he ran into after a while was a small doll. It had a maniacal smile on its face and had green hair and bat wings. It had on a white dress. The clone looked around to see if it dropped or anything, when he heard a voice. "Hey, who are you?" said a female voice. "Huh? Who said that?" the clone asked, looking around yet finding no one. "Down here, dummy," the voice said. Looking down, he saw the doll looking at him. Now Naruto was no longer shocked at these types of situations, for he had spent time with many odd friends. Bending down, he smiled at the doll. "What's your name?" he asked, grinning. "I'm Chachazero," the doll proclaimed. "And I am Master's #1 doll. Can I cut you up?" No, the clone answered. The doll frowned, and to him it kind of looked cute. "Hey, can you help me find Shichamaru? I swear after I find her and tell her what I need, I will let you stab as much as you like, K." The doll nodded. "I need a better place to see," Chachazero said. "This better for you, Zero-chan?" he said, putting her on his shoulders. The doll nodded happily. "Good. Now lead the way." It took them a couple of minutes, but they finally came across the green-haired robot. "Hey, Cha-chan!" the clone shouted. "Naruto-san, I did not know you were out of the resort already," Shichamaru said. "Oh, don't worry about it. Besides, I need a favor from you." "What is it, Naruto-san?" "I want whoever created you to create this." He motioned to the paper in his hands. "Tell them I will pay them back after I get enough money from my job." Shichamaru processed the idea for a moment. She found no threats against her master with a simple request, and it would make Hake's happy for the new project. She took the paper and said, "Hi, Naruto-san, I will do it." "Great, Cha-chan. I owe you for this," the clone answered. He then got Chachazero and put her into Shichamaru's arm. "Okay, Zero-chan, stab away." "Okay," she replied in a sing-song voice. She grabbed a kitchen knife and stabbed him in the chest, before Shichamaru could stop her. They were pet with a poof and smoke. "Hey! Where is the blood?" Chachazero whined. "By the way, why does he call me Zero-chan?" she asked, looking at Shichamaru. "Naruto-san said he does that with every girl he meets," Shichamaru replied, setting the older puppet on the table. She then continued on working for lunch. Rinnegan training, human realm / Manjikyu training, Kyuubi, 21st day in the resort. Misa Kakizaki, student number 7 of class 3A, was walking home alone at night. Her purple hair fluttering in the wind. She had on a green tube top and a white skirt. Her feet had on some sneakers. She and her boyfriend were having fun at karaoke, when his dad called saying that he had to come home because of some emergency. He had offered her a ride, but she declined, saying that she can take care of herself, and that he should hurry home. "I wish I had accepted that ride now," Misa said. "My feet are killing me." She continued walking the dim streets of the academy, navigating her way back home, when she heard a noise behind her. Turning around to see nothing, she decided to pick up her pace. A few steps later she heard footsteps following behind her. Once again she turned around to see nothing. Misa then decided to run as fast as she can back to her dorm. After a couple of feet running, she heard a crash behind her. She turned around to see a cat down an alleyway had knocked over a trash can. "Kitty, you scared me there," she said, letting out a sigh of relief. She started to turn when she felt 2 hands grab her and drag her into an alley. A burly man had pushed her into the wall of the alley, a knife at her throat. "Give me all your money," he demanded. "I don't have any," Misa replied. "I used it all." "Don't lie to me. Please, let me go." she pleaded, tears coming from her eyes. The man growled. He then eyed her up and down. You know, for a middle school student you have a fine body. Maybe I should just take that instead. The man gave a dark chuckle. Misa's eyes widened and she started to struggle. The man pushed the knife to her throat, drawing some blood to make his point. She stopped struggling, but her eyes were watering. Good, now, let's see what's under this shirt of ACKK. Misa felt the pressure around her neck go, and she fell to the floor. The man was holding his head and on his knees. She then saw 2 feet in front of her. They were clad in black combat boots. She looked at the figure, but all she could see was a ragged old brown cloak on him. You should get out of here, said a commanding voice, obviously male. She looked at the hooded face only to see a pair of hypnotizing pale gray eyes with a ripple effect in them. Get out of here! You do not want to see what I am going to do here, he said. Not giving it a second thought, she ran out of the alley. What the hell, man? You are going to pay for that! The robber shouted. He charged the figure with his knife, only for it to grab his wrist with his left, and then it placed its right on his head. The robber then couldn't feel himself move. What did you do to me? Nothing, yet the figure said. I hate rapists the most out of every criminal. Only traitors go above that. So I am here to administer punishment on you. Now tell me, what are you afraid of? Like I tell you something like that. The robber shouted. It seems like you don't like the sight of your own blood, the figure said. How did you know that, you damn bastard? The robber shouted, scared. He was met with silence. I said, answer me. When he finished the shout, the figure moved in front of him, and he noticed a pair of eyes as well. The figure then whispered, I'm not going to kill you, but I'll make it so you wish you were dead. He then moved his head back and his right eye changed into a red one with a weird insignia in it. The robber heard a whisper of Screamy, then everything changed. The sky became blood red, the ground became black as well as many other things, while their outlines became white. He then noticed he was on a cross. Where are we? The robber asked, frightened. We are in my world. Here I control everything, said the figure as it appeared in front of him. In his hand was a katana. You will be punished for 3 days straight for your sins. Now let's see some blood. The figure then stabbed him, giving him a shallow wound. The robber let out a scream. He then noticed a double of the figure appear, then they both stabbed him. It went on and on with more and more the figure reappearing. After 3 days they all disappeared but one. Is it over? The robber asked. He was deeply shaken and terrified of the figure in front of him. Is it over? The figure repeated. You must not know how to tell time, for you still have 68 hours, 59 minutes and 59 seconds to go. The robber let out another scream. Back in the real world, Misa didn't run. She felt compelled to see what this man would do to her attacker. She heard him ask for the robber's fear. When the robber insulted him, it just somehow replied about blood. It was then the figure went to eye level with the man and whispered something. After being still for a second, the figure let go of the man, who fell down on the floor unconscious. What did he do to him? The figure then turned around and saw her. I thought I told you to go, he said, his eyes looking down on her. I just wanted to thank you for saving me, she said bashfully. She then looked over his shoulder and asked, what did you do to him? Just get going, you do not want to know. She nodded hesitantly, then ran off, thinking how she would tell all her classmates what occurred. The figure then let out a sigh and poofed out of existence. Naruto opened his eyes, then scowled. The memories of his clone he sent out to patrol rushing back into him. He scowled at the thought of a rapist being on the academy, but he guessed he just somehow managed to get through. Then he recalled using the mind-reading jutsu and Tsukuyomi, and what it did to him. He shook his head and went back to meditating on the water's surface in sage mode. Paksho training, 23rd day in resort. Alright, let's work with that card. Naruto shouted, finally getting ready to use the card that sent shivers down his spine. He grabbed it, then remembered something. I don't even know how to use this thing. That's just great. Naruto whined. I might as well ask the old man in the morning during our meeting. Naruto grumbled. Final day of training finished. Rinnegan, Manjikyu, Hiroshin, jutsu and kenjutsu completed. Paxio not so much. Evangeline had finally gotten into the resort, nighttime, as per request of her guest. Behind her were her faithful dolls Shichamaru and Chachazero. Where is that idiot? I hope he did nothing to destroy this place. As she finally got to look around, everything was neat and clean as it should be. Well, I'm surprised nothing is destroyed, she said as she looked around. A loud explosion was then heard on the other end of the island. I spoke too soon, Evangeline said agitated. Shichamaru, Chachazero, let's go see if our idiotic guest had killed himself. Will there be blood, master? Chachazero asked happily. Maybe. Using magic, she flew off to the direction of the smoke and landed on the beach. A few seconds later, her servants arrived. The scene they arrived at was shocking. There was a huge crater of sand in the middle of the shore. Numerous rocks had been split in half and smoke rose from the crater. Surrounding the crater was a large, slow-burning ebony flame. Inside the smoke, Evangeline could barely make out the back of a figure, which she guessed was Naruto. In his hands were a nodachi and a katana. He turned around and Evangeline was surprised to see blood-red eyes looking back at her. He walked out of the smoke. As he did, the fires died down. Evangeline blushed as she saw that he wasn't wearing a top. She looked at up and down his body, noting how toned his muscles were, and that it suited him well. He wasn't weightlifter big, but it was just right. The pale moonlight made the red eyes shine brightly and, wait. What am I saying? I don't drool over boys. Especially not blonde-haired idiots with nice abs and, no. Like what you see Eva-chan. Naruto whispered huskily into her ear. She jumped back from not noticing he was right in front of her. She glared at him. As if someone would like to look at you. You know, it would have been more convincing if you weren't blushing, he retorted. Evangeline cursed herself for getting caught. The blades poofed of existence as he walked past her still blushing form. Thanks for coming to get me, by the way, he said, picking up a shirt from the sand. Well, see you tomorrow, Eva-chan, Cha-chan, Zero-chan. With a flash of yellow he disappeared from sight, which was followed by a flash of pink, signaling he was out of the resort. After all was said and done, Evangeline turned to her dolls. Not a word from either of you. Hi, master, Shichamaru responded. Whatever you say, Master, Chachazero said. Evangeline then walked off, saying she is going to rest in her bedroom at the result. Hey Shichamaru, Zero started. Why was Master blushing at Blondie? I don't know. Oh, make. That's weird. I know I sent at least 190 clones for each thing. How come I only saw 150? Naruto mused. He was walking in the resort to clear his head, for time was almost up. He bounded near the library when he heard a perverted giggle. He stopped for a moment and looked around, but saw nothing. He was about to go on when he heard it again. This time he was sure he heard it. Following the noise, he reached the library. Opening it, he found at least 200 clones reading various versions of Ika. What the hell is going on here? Naruto shouted. All the clones looked up from their books, blushing. Run! One clone screamed. The boss found us. At this, every one of them dispelled, causing him a slight headache at all the info. When the headache subsided, he flew back due to a nosebleed, with a goofy grin on his face. Apparently the group had read the entire series of Ika. Chapter 4, Getting to Know You. I can get a good 5 hours of sleep before going to meet with the old man, Naruto said as he opened the door to his room. He changed from his dirty Anbu gear, back into the orange shirt and black shorts he was going to sleep in. He placed his card down onto the table, once again the picture face down. As Naruto set up his futon to sleep, he felt a pulse. He looked over to the desk and noticed that the pulse was coming from the card. As Naruto walked up to the card, the pulses got stronger. It gave off a small yellow light as he neared it. When Naruto was close enough, he bent his face down to examine it. Huh! I wonder what's up with this thing now, he said as he inched his face closer. When his face was only inches from it, 2 ethereal blue hands extended from the card and grabbed his head. Naruto hissed in pain as it felt as if they were trying to rip him apart. The arms kept pulling on his face until there was a small snap. Naruto fell to the floor exhausted from whatever those hands did. He looked up to see the hands holding two symbols, the Uchiha fan and the symbol for aim, the rain country from his home world. They were dragged into the card, and Naruto fell into the black. Naruto got up stiff from lying on the floor all night. What the hell hit me? He looked around and saw the card on the floor face down. Naruto jumped back, afraid it might do something like what it did last night. Looking around, he found a broomstick in the corner. Naruto took the broom and poked the card with it. He repeated to be sure nothing was wrong. It seems safe enough, Naruto mumbled. He went over cautiously and reached for the card. This time nothing happened. Naruto kept looking at the card and frowned. Man, I'm never going to understand this thing. Naruto tossed the card onto the desk and walked to the dresser and got some clothes. When he turned around, Naruto's eyes widened as he saw a scroll on top of the card that wasn't there before. Naruto looked around the room to make sure no one else was in there. He felt no chakra, ki or magic signatures anywhere inside the room. The only ones he did feel were the traces of magic from within the building coming from Evangeline and Shichamaru. Naruto reached out and grabbed the scroll. He opened it and read the contents. Dear Naruto, I am sorry to inform you that we had run into some difficulties up here. Some of the higher-ups from the council I lead, known as the reviewers, have all agreed that you were becoming too powerful for your own good. So they have decided to seal away some of the powers you have gotten, namely the Rinnegan and Sharingan. Once again I apologize for doing this, but I agree with them as well. We have sealed the powers into the Paccio card you have. I say it was rather fitting we did it that way. I will have to say though, even once you use the card you cannot use both abilities at the same time like you did in that little incident with the robber. Good job for that. I hope not to see you soon, or you're dead literally. Yours truly, Kami. P.S. This is Jiraiya. Good job getting in bed with that girl Gaki. I never thought you had it in you. Naruto's right eye twitched at the postscript, though he had a noticeable blush on his face. Great hours upon hours of learned to use many of those techniques at least to a proficient level, down the drain. And without the Rinnegan, I won't be able to use Suiton, Katon, Raiton and Doton jutsus, except for those that are from DC rank. Well, at least I still have my sword style and all I have had learned back then. It's good enough, especially if have to use Sage mode. That Paccio, whatever it's called, will only be used in a sink or swim situation. Naruto sighed. He looked upon the clock on the drawer, and saw that it was 6:30. Kyuso, I got 30 minutes to get ready and get to the train. Naruto searched through his drawer and closet for something nice to wear. He grabbed some clothes and threw open the door. Naruto ran into the kitchen and saw Shichamaru preparing 2 bento boxes. Hey Cha-chan! Is there a shower in the cottage? Sorry Naruto-san, Shichamaru replied. The only one we have is reserved for Master, and she does not like to share it. Is there any place nearby that I can go to and take a bath then, without being late for school? Naruto asked. Shichamaru shook her head. The closest onsen takes 30 minutes to get from here, and it does not open until 11 this morning. Thanks anyways Cha-chan, Naruto sighed. He then turned around and began to walk to his room. If you would like, I will give you directions to the dorm's bathhouse, Shichamaru said. Naruto perked up at this. You sure Cha-chan? She nodded. Great, but I think I have to go after class. I need to get ready, Naruto said as he ran into his room. He then ran out 5 minutes later, took a piece of toast from the table, and ran out the door. See you later Cha-chan, Eva-chan, was heard as he ran out. Evangeline looked up from her paper she was reading and looked at the direction of the door. Where is the idiot going to? She asked Shichamaru. I think he is going to meet with the headmaster for some job interview, Shichamaru said, finishing the bentos. But he forgot his lunch. Whatever, Evangeline replied. Bring it just in case I'm still hungry. They then proceeded to leave the house and teleport to campus to get a drink. Naruto ran towards the train as he barely managed to get a ticket for this train. The suit he was wearing made it harder for him to actually run. Sure, his all-black clothing and orange button-up shirt underneath looked fashionably, and hey, the nice dress shoes were too, but he didn't like it. It didn't give him enough mobility to do what he needed. Naruto swore he would change the moment he talked to the headmaster. He then saw the doors starting to close. "Hold the door!" he shouted. Naruto saw a hand hold it, and he skidded in. Supporting himself on his knees, he tried to catch his breath. "Thanks for holding the door. If you didn't, I'd be late for my job on the first day," he said to the person. "It was no problem," a female voice said. He looked up to see a brunette girl a few inches shorter than her. She was in the Mahou middle school uniform. Her chestnut eyes shone while she gave him a comforting smile. She gave off an aura of friendship and kindness, which made him feel safe. Naruto returned the smile with his own foxy one. This caused the girl to blush and look away. "Name's Naruto Namikaze," he said, offering his hand. "It's nice to meet you, Namikaze-san," the girl replied. The honorific made Naruto have an unperceivable twitch in his eye. "My name is Kanoka Kono." "Kono? You don't happen to be related to the headmaster of the school by any chance?" Kanoka nodded. "Yes, he is my grandfather." "Hey Kanoka!" Another female voice interrupted. Both Naruto and Kanoka looked at the source of the voice. It was a female in the same school uniform as Kanoka, except it was larger in order to fit her frame. She had orange hair put into two ponytails, held together by bells. What caught Naruto's attention were her eyes. They were heterochromatic. Her left was a dark blue while her right was an aquamarine. Next to her was a short red-haired boy. He had glasses on his face, and wore a green suit. On his back was an odd stick. The orange-haired girl finally took notice of Naruto standing next to Kanoka. "Hey, what are you doing?" the girl asked angrily. "I was just thanking Kanoka-chan here for holding the door," Naruto replied, still smiling. He tilted his head towards the brunette who was blushing at the honorific. "Isn't that right, Kanoka-chan?" "Hi, Namikaze-san here was going to be late for his first day for his job and asked for someone to hold the door," Kanoka explained. "That was quite nice of you, Kanoka-san," the red-headed boy said. "Thank you, Negi-sensei," she replied, smiling. Naruto looked at the boy questionably, as if he needed to know this. "Aha!" Naruto exclaimed, snapping his fingers. "You're Negi Springfield, aren't you?" Naruto asked, pointing at the boy. "Why, yes, I am," Negi said. "Nice to meet you. My name is Naruto Namikaze, and I have applied to work at Mahou and will be helping teach there starting today," Naruto offered, extending his hand to the boy. Negi gladly accepted it and shook it. Naruto heard the orange girl scoff at the scene. "May I help you? You expect us to believe that you are going to teach at the school? You're like what, 16? The girl known as Asuna said. "I'm 17 if you must know," Naruto said, frowning. "Besides, the kid right here is younger than me and teaches. You don't seem to have a problem with that, Orange-chan." Kanoka and Negi held back their laughs at the nickname Naruto gave Asuna. The girl mentioned was red with fury. "What did you call me?" she seethed. "What? Do you mean Orange-chan?" Naruto replied innocently. Naruto then got smacked on the head with a fist. He rubbed it to make the pain go away. Asuna was tending to her fist as she glared at the blonde teenager. "My name is Asuna. Asuna Kagarizaka, get it right, Baka. And what is your head made of, lead?" "Hey, I'll have you know, my head is not made of lead, got it," Naruto retorted. "I've just been hard-headed since I was a kid." "That's a figure of speech, fish cake." Asuna almost spat out the last word. "I meant it literally, Orange-chan," Naruto shouted at her. They heard a giggle come from Kanoka and looked at her curiously at the same time. "You two look like a good couple," Kanoka said. "I mean, you're so close to each other, and not embarrassed at all by it." "Kanoka-san, I don't think a teacher and student should have that type of relationship though," Negi replied. "Huh!" both of the arguers said. Kanoka just pointed at them. They both looked down and saw that they were only inches away from each other. Asuna jumped away at the moment, blushing furiously. Naruto, however, was used to doing that because of Ero Sennin. He just smirked at her. Am I not good enough for you, Asuna-chan?" he asked with a mock pout. Asuna became more red as he said that. "No, in fact I don't think you look good at all. I only have my sights on Takahata-sensei," she replied. Naruto was about to respond as the train came to an abrupt stop, sending Asuna crashing into him. The proximity to each other made them both blush. Asuna got up and mumbled an apology, and Naruto doing the same. "Well, see you later, Namikaze-san," Kanoka said as the doors opened and the people stampeded out. "Yes, it will be a pleasure working with you, Namikaze-san," Negi input as he too ran out the doors. Naruto then looked at Asuna, who was glaring at him. "Aren't you going to run off too?" Naruto questioned her. She rolled her eyes and ran off. Naruto shook his head and stepped out. The stampede only grew bigger outside of the train. "You have got to be kidding me," Naruto grumbled. He looked around to see if anyone was watching, which no one was. He walked a ways bit forward, then disappeared in a gentle breeze. Naruto reappeared on the roof of a store that was only a few buildings away from the main office of the headmaster. He smirked and decided to use one of his new jutsus. He took out a 3-pronged kunai from his suit's coat, applied chakra into his arms and threw it at the open window in the headmaster's office. Kyuubi was patiently waiting for his new employee to arrive. He wasn't late yet, but he wanted the boy to be here on time. "I wonder where he is right now," he thought. The headmaster heard a whizzing noise go through the air and thunk on his door. He examined the door and saw an odd throwing knife there. Following the kunai's appearance was a yellow flash. Kyuubi raised his thick brow at Flash, as he saw the boy of his musings appear out of thin air. Naruto looked around and saw that he was indeed in the right place. He grinned and pumped his fists into the air. Yatta! First trial of the Hiroshin outside of the resort a success. He heard a little bit of laughter behind him and saw the headmaster chuckling at him. Naruto sheepishly scratched the back of his head and said, "He, sorry old man, kind of got carried away there." "Don't worry, Naruto-kun, it's alright," Kyuubi said. He entwined his fingers together and rested his chin on it. "You know what the job requires you to do, right?" Naruto nodded. "Good. Shizuna, please ask Negi to come to the office, please." Naruto quirked his eyebrow at the request. "And Missy, same time." "I can't believe the headmaster let an idiot like that be a teacher at this school." Asuna whined as she, Negi, and Kanoka walked into the building. "He's not that bad, Asuna," Kanoka said. "He was just trying to make conversation with us. Besides, the only mean to you because you insulted him." "I agree with Kanoka-san, Asuna-san," Negi replied. "Negi, not you too." "It's a good thing we ran into Evangeline-san too when we got our drinks," Negi said, changing the subject. "Yeah, now we have lead on your father." "Did you say something, Negi-sensei, Asuna?" Kanoka said, not paying attention. "And nothing, Kanoka-san," Negi stuttered. He looked at his watch, and his eyes widened. "Hey, I have to the teacher's lounge to see if I have mail. See you in class, girls." "Bye, Negi," Kanoka said. "See you later," Asuna mumbled as she and Kanoka entered the classroom. The class of 3A was never a normal class, with all of their odd quirky students in it, so it came with no surprise to both of the girls to see all of their classmates huddled around one desk. Asuna and Kanoka put their stuff in their seats and went to the crowd. "What's happening here?" "You mean you didn't hear?" Haruna Sato asked. This girl had on glasses and long hair like Kanoka, but it was a lighter shade and had 2 antennae like hairs sticking out of her head. "Hear what?" Misa was last night on her way home after her date. "My goodness, nothing bad happened to her, right?" Kanoka asked, concerned. "I'm alright, thanks for asking," Misa Kakizaki replied. "I managed to get away from the man, but he was really scary. He even threatened me with a knife." "How did you manage to get away?" asked a buxom redhead, with her head in a ponytail. This girl was Kazumi Asakura, 3A's very own budding reporter. "I escaped with some help. Though the guy that helped me was odd," Misa said, getting into a thinking pose. "Why do you say that?" "He just came out of nowhere, and I think kicked the guy in the face or something. He told me to run." "So it was a he that helped you? Are you sure it was some she who can change her voice?" Asakura asked again. Misa glared at her, making her put her arms up in defense. Sorry, please continue." "As I was saying, he told me to run, but I didn't listen. I wanted to see what he did to the guy. I saw the robber attack him, but he just easily stopped the attack and placed a hand on the guy's head. The robbers shouted about not being able to move and shouted something else I couldn't hear. It was then the figure bent his head down and whispered something to the guy. A second later the robber fell unconscious. He then came to me and told me go leave again. That didn't sound weird at all, except for him appearing out of nowhere and the passing out part, Asuna said, getting into the conversation. That wasn't what made it weird, Misa defended herself. What was weird was the guy's eyes. Don't tell me you fell for the hero thing. You have a boyfriend, Misa, Asakura reprimanded her. No. I didn't fall for him like that. It's just his eyes were weird. They were a pale purple and had a rippling effect to them. They were hypnotizing, Misa concluded. So you are telling me that we have vigilante out there on our campus, who can easily knock people out by whispering to them, and had an odd pair of eyes? Asakura concluded. Misa nodded. Asakura replied by laughing out loud. You really expect me to believe that? I mean, what kind of person can do that, a magician? You know magic isn't real. Asuna was sweating bullets as she heard the last part of the conversation. She was one of the very few who knew of magic actually existing in her. The others she knew about were Evangeline and Shichamaru, because one was a vampire and the other her servant, respectively. She tuned out the rest of their conversation as she thought of who the hell did that. Her train of thought was broken when the door slid open. All conversation stopped as the teacher and Negi stepped in. Nodoka Miyazaki led all of the class to greet Negi. After their greetings, everyone sat down and Negi spoke up. Everyone. Next week, Class 3A is going on a school trip to Kyoto and Nara. Is everyone prepared? A collective yeah, was the answer. As everyone was talking amongst themselves about it, there was a knock on the door. Negi-sensei, the principal is calling you, Shizuna said. Ah, okay. So the school trip will proceed as planned. I'm counting on you, Negi-kun. Yes, sir, Negi replied. He just heard that he had a mission to do in Kyoto. He had to settle a dispute between the Kansai and Kyoto Magic Associations. Even with this, Negi will still have a chance to look for info for his father. He was about to leave when the headmaster called out to him. Oh, Negi, before you leave, I forgot to mention we are sending you with some backup. The headmaster called out. Backup? Yes, he will be helping you out during your trip, as well as the rest of your career here. When do I get to meet this person? Negi asked. Right now, he was in the room listening. Let me introduce you to your new helper and assistant. Kanuman hesitated. A blonde figure fell from the roof, flipped and landed in a crouch. Cerulean blue eyes met red ones. Naruto Namikaze. Namikaze-san! Negi shouted, surprised. He didn't expect to be hit on the forehead by Naruto. Ow, Namikaze-san! Another flick. Let's get this straight, Negi, Naruto said in a serious tone. It's Naruto. Not Namikaze-san or Naruto-san. I may accept Ni-san or Aniki, but anything else I will flick you in the head, hard. Negi nodded. Naruto then smiled brightly. That's good. Since school is over, I need to go prepare for the trip. Excuse me, Negi said. He put his hand on the door handle when he felt a hand on his shoulder. He saw Naruto smiling down at him kindly. Hey, let me go with you, Naruto said. It will give me a chance to get to know my associate better. Okay, Naruto, Negi said nervously as he saw Naruto glare at him. Follow me please, Naruto. The duo then left the room, leaving a chuckling headmaster. So Naruto, are you a mage? Negi asked as he and Naruto walked around campus. No, I am not, Naruto answered. This got a surprised look from Negi. I'm just knowledgeable about magic. That's all. Oh, okay, Naruto, Negi said. He and Naruto then noticed a small bundle in front of Negi's suit move around. Out came a head of an white ferret. I didn't know you kept a pet ferret, Negi, Naruto commented. I'm not a ferret. I'm an ermine, get it right. The white ermine called. Hey, that's cool. Did you teach it to talk, Negi? That's pretty neat. Naruto saw a tick mark appear on the ermine's head. Naruto laughed and patted it on the head. Don't worry, buddy, I'm just messing with you. I haven't seen a talking ermine yet. Toads, snakes and slugs, yeah, but never an ermine. That's pretty cool, Hygen Ai-san, the ermine called Naruto. In response, Naruto snickered. You know that's pretty original. No one has called me Whiskers, and sorry to the authors who actually use Whiskers for his name if I use it too, before. Naruto laughed. Nice to meet ya, name's Naruto. Albert Chamomile, the ermine said with a cigar in his mouth. But call me Chamo. By the way, Aniki, why did you defend Evangeline back there? Because she would have gotten into trouble, Negi said. Besides, I don't think she is a bad person. Heh, feeling pity for the enemy is soft, but that is Aniki for you, Chamo said, while Naruto smiled at the duo. It reminded him of Gamakichi and himself a lot, except Negi wasn't as outgoing as himself, and he didn't know about Chamo too much. By the way, Aniki, I was going to tell you this afternoon, but did you see a card appear when you used the provisional contract last night? Do you mean this? Negi said, presenting a card. Naruto inspected it over the boy's shoulder, and his eyes widened. It was similar to his card, but it contained a picture of the Asuna girl in a pose with a rather large blade. Yeah, that! Chamo exclaimed. It's the proof of a contract between you and your partner. Contract with a partner? That means it's a magic thing, but I don't remember getting into a contract with anyone within the 2 days I've been here. The old man must know something. I should really stop putting off asking him about this, Naruto thought. Hey Negi, how come you got a picture of Orange-chan like that? Does that mean she's your this? Naruto teased, wiggling his pinky. Negi felt heat go to his cheeks, and Chamo was laughing as he took a perch on Naruto's right shoulder. I think he is Hyge-sama, Chamo said, chuckling. Hey Niji. The two looked up to see Asuna and Kanoka walking towards them out of uniform. Asuna was in a turtleneck and jeans. She had also changed her hairstyle by putting them in a loops, while Kanoka was in an oversized sweater showing off her legs. Naruto blushed taking the legs in, but shook himself before he got noticed by the girl who was very much like Sakura. Asuna saw Naruto and frowned. What are you doing here, fish cake? It's nice to see you too, Asuna-chan. Nice hairdo, makes you look cute, Naruto said, opting for actually using her name while in her vicinity. The compliment caused the girl to blush and look away. He then turned his head and smiled a foxy smile at Kanoka. How are you doing, Kanoka-chan? The girl blushed and replied, I'm good, Namike-san. Naruto-sensei, Naruto corrected. Huh? Both of the girls said, confused. It's going to be Naruto-sensei from now on. Right, Negi? Hi, Naruto here is going to be my assistant in class from now on, Negi explained. He agreed to go with me to prepare for our Kyoto trip. Negi then took a glance at Asuna and felt more heat go to his cheeks, which didn't go unnoticed by Asuna and Naruto. Hey Negi, why are you turning red? Asuna asked. And then nothing, Negi replied. Negi, is that a tarot card? Kanoka asked, looking at the card in Negi's hand. And it's got Asuna on it. Eh? It's true. When did you, and what's with the weird clothes? Asuna asked. Asuna-san, it's proof of the contract, Negi whispered into her ear. If Negi-kun has a nice picture of Asuna and carry it around, he must. Kanoka left it hanging. And no, I'm not, Negi defended himself. Naruto was laughing when he heard another person come to the same conclusion as him. He went to Negi and ruffled his hair. It's okay, Negi, she's just teasing you. Naruto reassured the boy. Let's get going, Asuna said, walking off to a shop. The 4-5, if you include the Chamo, were seen in a store. Negi was trying out clothes with the help of Kanoka, and Chamo was near them. Asuna was looking for clothes too in a different section. Naruto had decided to follow her and ask her about the contract card thing. Hey Asuna, Naruto called out to her. She looked up and frowned at him, but wondered why he dropped the suffix. What do you want, Naruto? She asked, still looking through the rack of clothes. Come to watch me change? You know that never crossed my mind, Naruto said thoughtfully. But now that you mentioned it, maybe. A tick mark grew on Asuna's head while she blushed. Pervert. She then threw a punch at him, but was surprised to see that he caught it with ease. She heard him sigh as he shook his head. He gently let go of her fist and backed away to make sure he wouldn't get hit. So did you want, if you weren't going to be a pervert? I came to ask about that card and contract Negi kept talking about. Asuna noticed something odd. Gone was the flirty, happy-go-lucky blonde idiot. In his place was a serious man who can actually be a good teacher. The thought of him being serious and more mature like Takahata-sensei made her blush. Then it clicked what he wanted to hear about, making her go even redder. Why do you want to know about that? Asuna asked, going through more clothes as to not make eye contact with the boy. It's because I know about magic, and for some reason the headmaster gave me one and said it belonged to me, Naruto answered, crossing his arms, his face becoming serious. I'm asking because I've only been here for 2 days, and I somehow managed to get one without my knowing of it. Well, I don't know too much about it, except it establishes a connection between you and a mage. Also it is made by. Asuna left it hanging, remembering her kiss with Negi. She blushed at kissing a 10-year-old. By a what? Naruto asked. And nothing, forget about it, Asuna covered. Let's go look for Negi and Kanoka, they seem to go missing. Naruto looked around and nodded. He put his hands in his pockets and walked side by side with Asuna. As they walked through the store looking for their companions, they heard the whispers and giggles of girls all around them. Asuna was befuddled by all of this, and when she looked to Naruto it looked like he wasn't even paying attention to it. Do you know what they are whispering about? Asuna asked Naruto. Naruto looked at her and shrugged. Me and you looking like a nice couple, or something along those lines. Asuna gaped and stood in her spot as she heard him. Naruto kept walking only to stop seeing that Asuna was still somewhere in the back. Hey Asuna-chan, what's wrong? What's wrong? She burst. How can you stand rumors like that flying around about you and mostly me? Naruto said, going into a thinking pose. It's because I've had worse, he finished a little darkly. Now as you said, let's go find Negi and Kanoka-chan. Asuna wondered what was wrong with him, but decided to drop it. They pair kept walking, but came to a stop when they heard Kanoka's voice coming from inside a dressing room. They opened the curtain to see Kanoka kissing on the cheek. Hey, what are you two doing? Asuna shouted. A bright flash of light later, they heard Kanoka going on about a card. When the light died down they saw another Pacchio, but it was a rather crappy-looking one. The picture looked like a 5-year-old did it. Ah, why is it so bad? Kanoka cried with anime tears. It's different from Asuna's. So it has to be a proper kiss after all, Negi pondered out loud looking at the card. Naruto raised his eyebrow and looked from Negi to Asuna. Asuna just gave him with the don't ask look. Okay Negi. Let's do this one more time, Kanoka said. However, Naruto was keeping them away from each other. Calm down Kanoka-chan, Naruto's sweat dropped at her antics. He then heard a girly scream and turned around. He saw Asuna holding a beat-up Chamo. He then sent her a questioning look. Asuna just gestured with her head at the two he was holding. Naruto nodded in understanding. He then looked at the sky and saw it get dark. Well, I have to go. See you in class tomorrow Negi, Kanoka-chan, Asuna-chan. He then walked off, disappearing. He was a good ways away when a thought crossed his mind. Did I just have a conversation with Asuna without using words? Unknown to him, a certain orange-haired girl was having the same thoughts. Naruto didn't use the train the next day. He hiroshined to the school, for he left a tag there. He nearly forgot to take a bath the night before, but made it to an onsen right before it closed. So smelling fresh like a whistle, he was standing in the office of the headmaster once again. In front of him was a man in a gray suit, with graying hair, a pair of glasses and a cigarette. He reminded Naruto of Asuma. I'm Takemichi Takahata, the man introduced himself. Nice to meet you Namikaze-san. Naruto pinched the bridge of his nose. It's Naruto. Please don't use honorifics on me. The man nodded. I'm here to take you to the class Naruto. You ready? Naruto nodded and they both left the room. The headmaster didn't pay attention to the conversation in front of him. He was too immersed in the book Naruto asked him to check before he sent it off to a publisher to get some extra cash. It was a little orange book called Ika Ika Beginnings. He looked up in time to see the teachers leave, he shrugged and went back to reading, letting out a perverse giggle. Did you girl hear? Asakura asked her classmates. We're getting an assistant teacher for our class. When did you hear that, Gozaru? Asked a tall, lightly tanned girl. She had olive green hair and her eyes seemed like they were closed. I heard it yesterday, kid. He was supposed to be here yesterday too, but he got caught up with the headmaster about some business. Asuna decided to tune out the rest of the conversation of the girls, already knowing who would be coming to their class. Negi had given them free time since he didn't want to stress them this week, so he was going light on the work. This gave the girls time to chat up like the girls in some parts of the room, or just mind themselves like others. She looked up to see Nodoka Miyazaki, a shy purple-haired girl, being pressured by her two friends Uiase and Haruna Satom into asking Negi out. She let her thoughts drift again, but they kept going back to the blonde-haired teacher. She was wondering if she was crazy since she had a dream about him and her doing rather intimate things together. She became flustered and shook her head. Asuna! What? She snapped. She then saw the rest of the class looking at her. She looked away embarrassed. What do you want, Asakura? What do you think the new assistant will be like? A blonde idiot. Asuna mumbled. You think so? Asakura asked. She didn't get an answer as she saw Asuna's eyes go out the window again. The reporter sighed at the girl's expression. She needed more info on this guy. All commotion stopped as there was a knock on the door. Takahata-sensei entered the room and stood in front of the class. He nodded towards Negi, who returned the gesture. He then addressed the girls. Hello, girls. As you may have heard, you are getting an assistant for your class. He will be helping Negi-sensei for the rest of his career at this school, so please take care of him. You can come in now, Takahata finished speaking towards the door. The girls looked in anticipation as they saw a boy, no young man, walk in. He had unruly yellow hair that seemed to bounce with every step. He was wearing a dark blue suit and an orange shirt inside with a black tie. He got in front of the class and faced the girls. Most of the girls blushed at the person. He had stunning cerulean blue eyes as he stared out at them. His mouth was put in a fox-like grin and adorning his cheeks were 6 whisker-like marks, 3 on each side. Yo! My name is Naruto Namikaze, I hope we can get along well, he said with a mock salute. Naruto noticed that most of the girls had blushes on their faces, some had hearts in their eyes and a very few nosebleeds. After his introduction, all hell broke loose. The girls swarmed him and kept asking questions. How old are you? Where do you come from? What is your type of girl? Can I get your number? While this was happening, Naruto was trying his hardest not to have a nosebleed, as well as resist the urge to do something that he might regret right there and then. He could swear he heard Jiraiya-sama giggling like a schoolgirl at his predicament. He was saved when Takahata broke up the group. Naruto was still on the floor greedily taking gasps of air, and put his hand on his face to hide the blush. He got up and steadied himself on the table. Thanks, Takamichi, Naruto said. No problem, he replied. If you need me in the lounge right now, Kei? Naruto nodded as Takahata walked out the door. Sup, Negi, Naruto greeted his new friend. Hello, Naruto-san, UCH. Negi exclaimed, rubbing his forehead. He looked at Naruto and asked, What was that for? You forgot what I told you yesterday, Naruto said with a sigh. Oh, I'm sorry, Naruto, Negi apologized. It's okay, but forget again. I'm going to Nugi, you got that, Naruto said sternly, with a nodding Negi. They heard a giggle coming from the class and looked at them. The girls all had smiles on their faces when they looked at the two. What? Naruto asked. You two act like siblings, you know that, Konoka said. Yeah, agreed two small girls with pink hair. They looked like 10 but they weren't. They were Fuka and Fumika Narataki, the resident pranksters of the class. Hello, Naruto-sensei, a redhead said as she put a microphone to Naruto's face. I'm Kazumi Asakura, Class 3A's very own reporter. Do you mind answering a few questions? Sure, I don't see the problem in that, Naruto answered even though his sweat dropped. How old are you? 17. Where do you come from? Far away, some small village in the mountains somewhere up north. What's your favorite color? Naruto's eyes flashed for a moment in Asuna's direction, noticing her hair, as well as the hair of another student. Orange. What type of girl are you into? Come on, Asakura, do you think he would answer that kind of question? Asuna shouted defensively. Nah, don't worry, Asuna-chan, I got this. The girls started to murmur at the honorific he gave Asuna, wondering how they knew each other. I like girls who are nice, kind, easy to be with, and loves ramen. Is that your answer? Asakura asked to make sure, because a lot of girls put their heads down when they heard what he said. Naruto started to laugh at that. Man, I was just kidding. I won't tell you what type of girl I like. It's fun for you girls to guess any? Naruto said, sending another foxy smile at the girls, making them blush. Kazumi-san, can you please stop questioning Naruto? I think he would like to use this time to get to know the class, Negi said, coming next to the teen. Wouldn't you, Naruto? Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, getting to know me like that is great and all, but I'd like to talk to all of you personally. So please continue whatever you were doing before I got here, and I'll get to you shortly, okay? Hi, Sensei. The girls replied as they got back to talking. Naruto then looked to the back to see 2 chairs empty. Hey Negi, who sits back there? That would be Evangeline-san and Shichamura-san, Negi explained. They left early to meet up with the headmaster. Naruto nodded. He continued to scan the room when his eyes fell on a mop of silver hair. His eyes widened as he saw the girl who he woke up with on Saturday. She was eyeing him funny as he looked at her. Naruto sighed, deciding to talk to the girl. Akeo was staring at the new teacher. It was the boy she woke up with on Saturday in the infirmary. She didn't know what to say. She blushed at the memory of only seeing him in boxers. Akeo was surprised to see him plop into the seat across from her. The girls started to whisper as they saw him with her. She flushed harder, not being used to getting attention. Hello, Naruto-sensei, Akeo stuttered out, not looking at him. Hey, Naruto started waiting for her name. It's Akeo Izumi, sensei. Okay, Akeo. I'm guessing you remember what happened on Saturday by the way you are looking at me, right? The way he said it made it sound like a statement, not a question. Hi. Can I at least explain to you before you say something to get me fired? Akeo nodded. Thanks. You see, I was there because they found me unconscious in front of the school and they decided to take care of me. The reason I didn't have clothes on was because they were dirty from my travels. And about you ending up in the same bed as me, I don't know how to explain that, but I'm sorry for putting you in that situation, Naruto whispered to make sure no one else heard. That was my fault, Akeo said. If I had paid attention, we wouldn't have ended up like that, and I wouldn't have come to the conclusion that you were a pervert. So a new start? Naruto offered, smiling at her. She smiled back and nodded. He stood up to talk to someone else when he felt both his ninja instincts and pervert sense activate. Both of them were telling him to move out of the way for some reason. He turned around only to see Negi almost going to sneeze in front of him. Okay, my 2 options are getting out of the way and let whatever is going to happen to Akeo-chan. The other is me taking the hit and be humiliated on my first real day on the job. Decisions. Naruto glanced at Akeo and sighed. Option 2 it is then. Curse you, my conscience. After the thought, Negi sneezed in the general direction of Naruto. The sneeze was so powerful it ripped off most of Naruto's clothes, leaving him in his ramen-themed underwear. All the girls looked at him and got nosebleeds and passed out. The few who didn't either were either glaring at him or taking in his figure. He then glared at the sheepish-looking Negi, who was stuttering out apologizes. Negi, you owe me a new suit.